What's going on, Washington fans? We got a little bit of sad news this morning. The Bills did an extension for James Cook, their running back, 4 years, $48 million. So it's sad for Terry McLaurin because it's like, dude, you're like the only one left, and Micah Parsons as well. But it just sucks to see everybody else get their extension. But we're not here to talk about that today. We're here to talk about, I think the Commanders' offering price might have been revealed by John Keim himself. We're going to dive into an article that he wrote, and we're going to talk about what it has to say. So before we do that, make sure you guys hit the like button, hit that subscribe button. On the road to 2,000 subscribers, I cannot do without you. Hit that notification bell as well. We're trying to hit 2K by week 1. Let's get it. Okay, so let's dive into this. We're not going to, read the whole article, but again, this is by John Keim. This is none of my writing. So, and by the way, on his podcast yesterday, John Keim said the Commanders could get up to $28 million offering to Terry McLaurin. That's what we're going to talk about today, because that's a little nugget that he dropped that no one seemed to catch wind of, but then he wrote an article about it. Now everyone's catching wind about it. So, since that day at the Commanders facility 2 weeks ago, however, the mood has changed as McLaurin entering the final season of a 3-year deal he signed in 2022, and Washington remain at an impasse on a possible contract extension for Daniels' number one target, McLaurin. He has voiced his frustration, held in. Technically, he was placed on the physically unable to perform list with an ankle injury, and finally, on July 31st, requested a trade. Nothing has boosted momentum toward a deal, and with the season approaching and Washington hoping to build on a breakout 2024, the question is why. One league source said he could see the Commanders eventually agreeing to pay $28 million per year. But would that be enough? According to various reports and multiple sources, DK Metcalf's contract has served as a guide for Terry McLaurin, as we know. Though whether that's in terms of average per year, $33 million, or total guarantees, $60 million, remains uncertain. McLaurin and Metcalf were in the same draft class and have comparable NFL statistics. Quote, whatever happens along the way, Commanders General Adam Peters said last month, quote, just understand he's a great player and we want to keep him here, unquote. So, here's why the two sides remain so far apart. Again, per John Keim, age. This likely remains the biggest sticking point because it frames the argument for Washington. McLaurin will turn 30 on September 15th, which means he'd be 31 when an extension begins. The Commanders rely heavily on statistics, and the numbers aren't kind to receivers at that age, according to ESPN research. Over the past 5 seasons, only 3 receivers 31 years or older have played at least 10 games and averaged 70-plus receiving yards per game. Second one is precedent. During a 30-minute media conference last month, McLaurin highlighted his first 5 seasons in Washington, 4 of which under previous owner. Okay, I'm not even going to read this because this is them saying, we want you to produce for us in the future, not what you did in the past. And then third is leverage. So, okay, so let's dive into that. Listen, I've told you guys for months that this is a very statistic heavy group right here that we're dealing with. So they're going to see this age and they're going to say, well, here's what you're probably going to do for us. And again, they're fully focusing on the future, not what he's done in the past, because that's how contracts work. So the statistics say he slows down. That's what they say. But for me, I think that when you're entering your I think he's entering his 7th year in the NFL. Maybe he's already played 7 seasons. One of the two. When you've only had that amount of run on your legs, I think that this specific player, Terry McLaurin, his signs point to no injuries. And his signs, after what he's done in his career, and there's no injuries in his career besides rookie year concussion, his signs point to there's nothing that's going to happen next year. So, I think it's a little bit different of a case with him. This whole contract is weird because, he's 30. We knew it was going to be challenging because he's 30. His age really is a big factor. And I could see if he's coming off 1,700 yards and entering his 30-year-old season, but that's just not him. He's more of a guy to get 1,200 yards like he did last year. But the touchdowns were insane last year. I mean, the dude had 13 touchdowns in the regular season. And then in the playoffs, he had a touchdown every single game. So, 16, right? You know, Ja'Marr Chase had 17, but Terry McLaurin did have the playoffs. But, you know, he's a great receiver. I mean, I've said this, I think both sides need to come at $30 million and meet in the middle. So, but it seems like we have gotten the Commanders asking or offering price kind of revealed, because a league source says the Commanders could get up to $28 million. I think that's reasonable, but that's T. Higgins money. Terry McLaurin's not I mean, he's close to T. Higgins. Like, what fans don't want to accept is Terry McLaurin is closer to a tier of T. Higgins than he is closer to a tier of $34 million CeeDee Lamb, 35 Justin Jefferson, 40 Ja'Marr Chase. He's closer to T. Higgins. So, they're in the same range, but I think Terry McLaurin clears him, and I think he's better. But so I think $29 million works. Like, or you get up to 30. But I don't think they're going to start paying anything that starts with a 3 anymore. I don't think Washington's there yet. I don't think they're there yet. Could they get up there? Probably not. But I think Terry McLaurin is at $33 million, you know, stuck there. Again, I think Buddy Baker probably trying to push for a little bit more money. That's his biggest client, as we all know. So I could just see him pushing for a little bit of money, feeding Terry McLaurin the lies that he's going to get that money. But I'm not here to sit here and blame Buddy Baker. You know, I'm not going to sit here and do that. At the end of the day, we don't know, but I think we do know Washington's offering price, and it's $28 million. And they've come up considerably from you know, the last time we spoke, right? Even the Stephen A. Smith report is something that you should keep your eye on. I'm not saying you should believe it, but because Stephen A. Smith, don't believe anything that he says about NFL stuff. But the Terry McLaurin thing, $27 million seems reasonable. And he said that a few weeks ago. I think the Commanders may have offered $27 million and then came up to $28 million, because I think they're really pushing for a deal, as they should. They really do need Terry McLaurin. This is the only leverage Terry McLaurin has, is they need him, right? But they can keep him under his current contract and franchise tag him next year. So really that leverage just kind of goes down. But I think they're coming up with their offering. You know, I do. I think they're really trying to push for an extension. If Terry McLaurin's not going to come down, then, you know, we have problems, because that's how an extension works, right? So, but nobody says he hasn't come down yet. Like, nobody says otherwise. Nobody says he's still at $33 million. So, we can kind of hope that he's trying to come down. You know, maybe the $30 million, $29 million. I think $29 million or $30 million is the sweet spot, right? I do, because if you look at it, like, what's his current contract? Like $68 million, maybe? $70 million? I can't remember. $68 million, I think. So if you get him to $89 million, which is $29 million a year, like, that's a $21 million raise. Like, that's good. Like, you want that if you're Terry McLaurin. So I just think that that's reasonable when you talk about that. But we'll see. I mean, we'll see. This situation's still ugly. We didn't expect to be here, but I'd love to see an extension get done by Monday night. Like, I really would love to see it get done by Monday night, because Dan Quinn has announced we're playing the starters for at least one drive. Bengals announced they're playing the starters. Like, I want to see this full offense. And, well, we might not see Noah Brown, so never mind. We're not going to see the full offense, but, like, we need Terry McLaurin out there. And I'm sick of watching football without him. He was at practice yesterday. I've heard he's been attending the team meetings. And here's the positive sign, Commanders fans. James Cook, running back for the Bills, I told you he got an extension at the top of the show. He had been attending the practices. I don't know if he had been practicing, but James Cook had been attending the practices. James Cook had been attending the team meetings. James Cook had been attending the team activities. Terry McLaurin is attending, you know, at least the team activities and meetings. Like, he was at practice yesterday, so you could count that as what he's attending as well. So, could we be close to an extension? Like, Could we be close to an extension? I mean, I don't want to feed my delusions because this is taking so long, but we could be close, guys. Like, James Cook showed up to everything for the Bills past week. Now Terry McLaurin has done the same, and I think we're going to get an extension done here. And I think they realize they have 3 weeks left. Like, you have 3 weeks left to do this. Like, if you don't get it done, you could expect a really mad Terry McLaurin. Really mad Terry McLaurin. But I think they know that. I mean, they know all this. But so John Keim's article, $28 million. The Commanders could get up to $28 million. I mean, I would trust it if he says a league source is telling him that. He dropped it in his podcast the other day as well, so I think it is true. I think now they're starting to get reasonable. Like, when Jeremy Fowler said they're only offering slightly over what he's making now, which is $23 million, like, I think that's definitely lowballing him. I think that's definitely disrespecting him. But I think as you work your way up to $28 million, $29 million, $30 million, that's where it gets good. That's where it's respectful for Terry McLaurin, to be honest. Like, $27 million's not, even $28 million's a little bit disrespectful. Like, but they're going to work their way up, I think. I hope. And I hope Terry McLaurin works his way down because both sides are being stubborn. Listen, I think Terry McLaurin's a $30 million wide receiver. I do. Like, here's the thing. I understand the statistics of a 30-year-old wide receiver. What happens after that? It happened with Tyreek Hill, but he still got $30 million. But because he was coming off 1,700 yards that year. So, here's the thing. I understand the statistics, okay? I understand the age, okay? But I think Terry McLaurin is a $30 million wide receiver at his age. Like, I think coming off what he did last year and the little amount of seasons that he's played, the little amount of injuries that he's had, I think he's a $30 million wide receiver, okay? And I told you guys this. I think that's respectful. Like we thought this number definitely had to start with a 3 earlier on in the offseason. So when we were giving our predictions, like I gave 32 million as a prediction because I thought that was low. You know, tells you how much we don't know, but why are we backing down from that? Let's stick with that 3 number. Let's stick with what we said before, which was 32 million. You know, like that's our prediction for what should Terry McLaurin get. I would love to see him get 32 million. I would love to see him get 31 million, but the team's not going to pay him that. And AJ Brown's 32 million right now. But here's the thing about AJ Brown. He got 32 million. He got his extension in 2024. So his extension is old and he's still making 32 million. Like, I think you can get up there, man. But I know the team's not going to do that. So I'm not going to start, they're going to get up to there. Like, they're probably not even, they might not even be at 28 million yet. Like I said earlier in the show, like, I don't know if that's true. John Keim says it is. So, but we just got to hope an extension gets done sometime soon. That's all I got for right now. I'm tired of talking about Terry McLaurin and his extension. I want to talk about Terry McLaurin and his touchdowns that he's going to get this year, his yards that he's going to get this year, in the year 2 chemistry with Jaden Daniels. But we're not talking about that because this is the NFL and this is how it goes. So, answer the Washington Commanders. As always, you guys have a great rest of your day. Probably the last piece of content that I got for y'all. No Commanders practice today. Peace.